This is so big that today's movie will show you what really happened with Swift and JP Morgan, the CC, and the attacks on XRP and Ripple. There is no plot going on here. This is not crazy. These things really did happen. The place where the secret talks took place, which we didn't know about, is a fact. Didn't you need to add that in there? Was not telling the truth, which I will show you. Right? As the previous CEO of Swift, then calling the Godfather now, he said that these hotels have the CC on their side because of this. The CC job is to make sure that securities offers are real, which means they do what they say they will do. The CC is in charge of securities and other things that are connected. I'm going to read you a short part of what he said to BR. Carlinghouse. Why does he even need to talk about that? It was very stressful and I want to let you know about it. Now this gets really interesting because JP Morgan saw the danger that XRP and Ripple posed right away, and I'll show you the proof right now. Let's look at a video with JP Morgan in it. It says that you will be 6 months old in 2023, that the business sector did better than us. If Phoenix Jimmy Dimon said they weren't very creative, do you still believe that? Pay close attention. There are too many people working in financial services that you shouldn't bother. The number of them is high. They have spent a lot of money, but they still have a lot of it. I don't like it when that happens because some of them have done a great job and we should praise them. Some of them have done so well that they don't fit in the fintech group. They are what a business is built on. How many different kinds of fintech services are there? There are people who have done things that we could have done ourselves. You already know that I think a business should be honest with itself. It was either something we could have done ourselves or that they did better, so we should own up to that. It happened when JP Morgan and Ripple had a fight. Look at this. The fact that the Ripple is speeding up around the world is both a start and a wake-up call. Ripple didn't like when JP Morgan first showed off the JP Morgan coin, saying that it didn't make sense and basically did the same things as now on a closed system. Just think about the fact that a JP or JP Morgan Cash is just a directory. That's the most interesting thing about it. He asked me about change to blockchain and I told him that there's no real reason to use a blockchain for that Morgan. Stanley says that it's not likely to be a JP Morgan coin. He then asks, so are JP Morgan coins going to be used by the city? A JP Morgan coin could be used by BFA. No, if you're just changing the money within the JP Morgan ledger, it needs to be dollar to dollar or a one-to-one backing. I don't know what issue everyone knew who was making the money. Everyone knows that the well-known bank JP Morgan keeps all the fees that come from these deals. There are methods at JP Morgan that have been working for years and years and years. They make a lot of money from them, so why would they change them? How do I decide what to do? And how will my customers move from the old method to the new one? Jamie Dimon makes a lot of money in the tech business, just like JP Morgan. Jamie Dimon has been constantly taking care of systems for you. That type of acceptance is hard because, well, it's like inertia. They have known for years that it works and make a lot of money from it, so why would they change it? That's one of the reasons, in my opinion. I think we are at a changing point, and I think everyone in this room does too. People are starting to understand this. In this case, what can I do? Before we can talk about Jamie D, we need to talk about how he is at the top of the world financial system. Of all the banks, JP Morgan is without a doubt the one that gains the most from this situation. They are making billions and billions of dollars. In this setup, 99.9% of banks don't make money from transfers between countries. Let's go. The word Jamie Dimon refers to someone who is very rich. Still, how is this? Okay, but now things really start to get interesting. The director in charge now had worked at JP Morgan for 35 years as the head of Swift Grove Monroe. So JP Morgan, they're just picking their own men, so it's okay that you're guessing. But think about this, mister. E. Washaw was the head before Graham. Before becoming head of Swift again, you worked for 20 years at JP Morgan as a vice president and managing director. They're not getting too close. You could say that they are choosing dishonest candidates, but in the end, you can't do anything but agree. What I think, the whole banking system works like a Ponzi scheme, but it's a good one. Since people were made inside this, surely no one is left alive. Now that I've seen how banks started, I feel like we were all born into this world. That's why nobody could handle it. Right now, it's just too much to handle. I can't believe they're leaving JP Morgan after 35 years and going to work at Swift. But read this to see why I think JP Morgan went after Ripple. And they were able to succeed. This did not happen by chance. How are you? On December 10th, 2020, they sued them, saying that JP Morgan used blockchain technology to complete an intraday swap deal. They said that the deal could be completed in hours and settled right away thanks to an internal blockchain application. If Ripple worked together, they could finish this in hours instead of days. They said that this job could be done in a few hours with their internal program. They still weren't able to do it, so guess what? They need time because their deals happen during business hours. They'll need a few years to cut this down to seconds. How do they do things? Do they leave and then tell the CC to leave? 12 days later, on December 22nd, the CC put out a chart with Ripple, BR, Glenhouse, and Larsson, which is even stranger when you think about how silly everything is. Everyone knows that Jake Clayton sent a letter to the president the next day on December 23rd. Donald J. Trump told him today that he was retiring. I will quit for good on December 23rd, 2020. He is the head of the Securities and Exchange Commission, and that job will end in 2021. The main reason the CC was created was to make sure that securities offers were real, to value what they do and say, etc. There are films where someone points a gun at you and tells you what to do, telling you they'll quit the next day. Now, do you know what happened? As if this were all part of a plan, you could just sit there and laugh. Some might say, it's all made up and I'm just making it up in my head, but this is completely true. It's not going to happen. We will only see it happen. The price of XRP will keep falling above $100, showing that you are wrong and putting an end to everyone's worries. This is not right. You can't even make these things. The CEO knew from the start that Swift saw Ripple as a threat. Let's watch this movie again to talk about physical expression. This person acts like he doesn't smell at all between The Godfather and Brad Carlinghouse. It makes me happy to see this screen. This is going to be a very interesting argument and talk. It's great to have you both here, and your great schedule has helped us have a lively, polite conversation. We are both on stage, and I think this is our first time doing something together. So, yes, we do have God. God Drake Lebrand is the CEO of Swift, and Brad Garlinghouse is the CEO of Ripple. For the reasons you've already given, you think there is a chance that Ripple will buy Swift. As I said before, I think there are ways we could work together. Let's talk about how to start that comment now while we're on the subject of Swift. I mean, just by saying that Swift is mine, I think Godfrey has a very hard job to do. Swift is owned by banks. This isn't a normal building. Instead, it has a strong head, and the city has a kind of big stake in it. However, Ripple's main goal is to help banks and other financial institutions do well in the long run. For example, how do you feel right now? In terms of working together with Ripple, that's fine. We can figure it out here first. That's why we keep an eye on banks, lenders, and the financial business. In the world of cryptocurrencies, there are no last resorts. This is why the CC exists, to make sure that securities offers are real in terms of what they say, do, and other things. When I think about it, this is a problem because there are no such safety measures in the Bitcoin world. That's not good. I think that none of those things exist in the world of cryptocurrencies. Something seems wrong. That's not good. It's a bother. I don't see how any of that can be true. I don't see how we can say that doesn't happen in the world of CRP pro crypto when it does happen in the world of cryptocurrency. I don't see how we can say that there is none of it in the world of CRP pro cryptocurrency. Even so, still every Ripple transaction goes through a controlled gateway and then goes back to another one. Finally, ladies and gents, thank you very much. Tell me, all of you. Let us know what you think in the comments. That's all there is below. We are almost done. We are going to put this away and never talk about it again. This is happening again. Hurry up, Morgan. I agree with JP that they are deeply crooked, which is why they keep setting such high standards for themselves. It would take a lot of work for JP Morgan and Swift to make this not solid proof. One of their top leaders has been named Swift's chairman, which shows that they are still committed to working together. When put together, they are pretty much the same. Since it is business appropriate, you could say that the attitudes are the same. You are becoming